Again, this is basically a podcast on what artificial intelligence is, what is its limitations, what it does, what it cannot do. So it's just a pep talk before I start more into Industry 5, right? So here, what we see is basically artificial intelligence is basically a collection of knowledge repository. So whatever books written, whatever research we have done so far, whatever the systems are in place, whatever the region-wise regulations have been followed so far, from the beginning of what we have documented till date is something which AI is trained on, and all it can do is it can replicate the information which we have fed to it. Basically, we have trained it on the information which is documented. So it can't do anything other than what we have already documented. And for which we have provided the access to it and have trained it to understand, right? For example, if you go to a very new startup where the systems are not there, there is no standard set of working, unless they adopt a complete different AI specialized and matching their industry as well as their customer, the specific scenario in which they are, they wouldn't be able to use AI. So AI specifically can be used when the systems are a lot mature compared to ad hoc working basis, right? There should be certain regularized way, defined steps, defined way of working. Only then AI can be adopted. Even before AI, automations has to come in place so that the AI can take over. AI can't invent anything, right? As the AI itself says that AI was present from a long time and humans just discovered it, right? But what AI can do is AI can only parrot back what humans know, right? The only difference is it has access to many domains, it has access to many research papers, it has access to many information which a individual human or a set of humans with limited set of humans may not be able to comprehend and solve certain problems. That's where AI comes into picture, especially because the vast amount of data which on which it has been trained makes it a little upper hand because it can retrieve based on all the permutations and combinations to come up with something which looks to be superhuman, right? Now, there is a limitation for AI, right? Other than what is already known to human, it can't identify anything which is unknown by the human. At the max, it can do permutation and combination of the already discovered, invented possibilities and come up with the new permutation and combination. That's all, right? That is what current AI is. And they say that the super intelligent AI will be able to innovate, but that is still a gray area. We have not reached that stage, and I doubt that stage also because logically it's not something which is feasible, right? So, for example, maybe when we talk about the God, right, which is unknown to human, no human has seen it in the current world. So when you ask such kind of questions, it just parrot backs what is known to human, what is documented by the human, and there are a lot of gray areas where we can't validate if it is true or false. right? So that is the beginning. Uh, that's also current Gen AI or even the vibe coding what we do has limited probability and combinations. So when we are implementing the current version of uh, Gen AI or even the vibe coding, right? What I see is as of on July 23rd, 2025, uh, this particular code which generates or the information what it shares is still not vetted. It might be giving a wrong assumption completely altogether. It might be coming up with wrong permutation and combination. So it can't be trusted at this part of the time. That's where a particular Gen AI information has to be validated. And that's where vibe coding, even if you're taking help of AI, you're supposed to do it in a language which is familiar to you. The reason is because you have to do a code review, right? And to talk at a bigger picture, AI is just uh, it just follows the instruction. So you're supposed to set the direction for it. You're supposed to give a lot of inputs for it to strategize and do the activities. Well, it doesn't strategize on its own. So you have to define the strategies. You have to define the outcomes. You have to feed it step by step so that the expected outcome can be achieved, right? So AI on its own can't do anything at this part of the time. Even in future, if it does, it would be based on defined systems, which is mature enough to have been fed, trained to the AI, right? Without being fed and trained, it will not be able to replicate anything which is which can be done by a human, right? So the outcome has to be defined, the approach has to be defined, the strategy has to be defined. How it does, for example, let's say that I know PHP, right? Now, if I ask AI to write in .NET, right, I have to specifically specify the language also so that it's easier for me to ensure that I can do a code review, right? That is how it is. It learns. I agree, it learns, but it learns only where it has access to and it has been trained on and what is being documented. So something is in your head at this part of the time can't be conceived by the AI, right? That is a far long. Yes, we have super intelligence where it interacts with our brain and we don't have to do any physical activities just by thinking about things in the brain. The AI can do it. But again, the brain has to give the instructions to it, well-defined instructions, defined outcomes, defined strategies, right? So it's basically a kind of a child who has to be basically a kid who has to be directed with all spoon-fed information. Else, there are ways for things to go haywire, right? With that, I end this, and as I before ending this, I just wanted to add, it's not that I'm not worried about my job. I do have job constraints because it all depends on what is the strategy behind implementing AI, right? For example, let's say that we are not trained, for example, right? If we are not trained on let's say prompt engineering or even vibe coding, right? If we don't upskill ourselves at the right time, there are more chances of we being obsolete from the employment or the job perspectives, right? So that's where the important thing is to follow all the AI updates, equip ourselves, keep learning, continual learning, that is the key. See, when I say vibe coding, it's basically a conversational AI, which on certain prompts of, for example, let's say BRD, FRD, business requirement document, functional requirement document, technical requirement document. All these three, if at all, is very well descriptive, and I feed it to vibe coding tools such as Lovable or Cloud CLI, or even the grok, right? So it does create programs, but basically I need to know how to use it and to what level the BRD, FRD, and TRD has to be documented. How, what are the verbiage? How best can the AI tool understand it? These all things is something which I'm supposed to know. And also deployment, how it happens. Today morning, I read that there was a startup which didn't have production test instance or even development instance. So they were directly doing the code change on prod using Replit, right? Now that is a foolish thing, right? You are allowing Replit to do a code change in production environment without doing a development, without having a development instance, and without even having a test instance. So it deleted some code. First of all, how who granted it the access to delete it, right? So the governance makes a bigger picture here. So we are supposed to have production instance. We are supposed to have test instance. And I know AI already has a capability to do a end-to-end testing as well. So that's where you have to give it a separate instance to play around and have that manual checkpoint at least on what happens in prod, right? Especially at this immature level of Gen AI or AI, there is a need of more primary governance to be in place on what AI does on the production systems, right? So that's a complete foolish thing. We can't blame the tool or blame the tool or blame the AI for doing it. Basically, you allowed it to do it. You didn't have proper governance checkpoints. You're just being a lot foolish here, right? So that's how a lot of checkpoints comes into picture, and this is going to be it's not going to go away because if you compare in India, right? In India, there are certain ways where the financial systems work. There are certain systems where we are dependent on manual process. We have not yet digitized completely. And if you want AI to be implemented in India, it's going to be a long process. And it's not something which we can adopt from US or China or the UK because we have our own systems. We have our own legal systems. We have our own financial systems. We have our own financial regulations. We have our own guidelines. So it's not that one size fits for all. You get it, right? So there are a lot of things which is going to remain the same until and unless we follow a step-by-step procedure, a disciplined, a structural procedure to achieve the highest maturity, which would be the super intelligent AI, which will be kind of autonomous, but looks autonomous, still the instruction goes directly from our brains. So basically, uh, we can call it we can call it as I've been calling it out for Neuralink. So Neuralink has a brain augmented device basically, which connects with the AI. They are experimenting on that. But as it improves, we can see that the device would interact with the bone conduction and passes the brain waves to the artificial intelligence. So that's how the future of AI will be and the future of humans will be. Right? That doesn't mean that our jobs are at stake, but if at all we don't upskill, even in the absence of AI, there has been certain instances where we were reluctant to learn and we were obsolete. And that's how it will be. With that, I end this podcast. Thank you.